And welcome back. This is your man Warrior, and this is another roster review. This is EnergyKing. He is one of my patrons, and he belongs to the Suit and Tie Pilots. That's right. That's another player from the Suit and Tie Pilots that is a patron. We're going to go through his. He is a free-to-play character. He's been playing for about roughly 5 months. He's been hustling, and he's got a really, really good guild. The basic overall look, PvP battles are good. Normal and hard battles won. That's good for being free to play. His galactic battles, you can tell that he doesn't always finish galactic battles, and that's okay. A lot of free to play struggle in the first 5 months because Galactic War is tough. Guild raids won, we're looking for about 1,000 per raid. So right on track, like I said. And he recently switched, I believe, to Suit and Tie Pilots. So something about gear donated. A lot of people are like, hey, 300 gear is good, but I've done 2,000 or whatever. When you switch guilds, it actually resets on what it shows. So it shows me at like 2,000, but it only shows me at like 800 something on my thing, and I think that's because when you change guilds, it does that. So anyway, first thing we're going to do, look at the arena rank and arena squad. So he is in the top 200. That's in the top 2% of his shard or his leaderboard. So for free to play, that's phenomenal. You also know he's got some rebels going because he's got Emperor Palpatine 6-star, and he's got a 7-star Sunfac. I know he has been farming the heck out of Sunfac since he was made free to play. That's really his focus. So overall first impressions is one of your most powerful offensive characters and leaders is Emperor Palpatine, and you have him as leader, so good on you. After Dooku's rework, he is not a bad individual to bring underneath him, and Emperor Palpatine is great for an Empire lead or a Sith lead. He allows you to basically create a team where you can have Empire and Sith. Now, your best tank in your inventory is Sunfac, and so I'm proud of you for having him there. He's going to dispel, he's going to do offense down, he can remove turn meter, he's going to help protect your team. And he hits pretty hard for a tank. So Sunfac is great. Also, he puts critical chance down when he counters, and he's a countering tank, so that's good. Geonosian Soldier was easy to gear, and I know that's why you farmed him and geared him up, and he's got some synergy with Sunfac, so I'm sure that's why you've brought him in. And currently, with everyone you have, this is actually the team of all the characters you have of who I would recommend. But if you really want to go up arena rank, you're going to need to have just a little bit more synergy. What I mean by that is you're going to have a little bit more semblance with this team. So Sunfac can kind of go on any team, and you've got an Empire and Sith Lord, a leader, So let's go into your inventory, and I'm going to tell you who I would suggest to get rid of Geonosian Soldier. Now, the individual that I'm going to suggest is actually not geared up high enough yet, and that's TIE Fighter Pilot. You've got him at level 84 and gear 8 and 5-star. So I'd continue to farm him up and gear him up, and then he, underneath Emperor Palpatine, is very fast, takes a lot of turns, he's hard to kill, and he hits really hard. Plus, you've got a debuffing team. You have your Grand Moff Tarkin, who's going to put offense down and other things as such, plus Count Dooku, who's going to be ability blocking and things like that. So I would definitely, for more synergy, eventually replace Geonosian Soldier with TIE Fighter Pilot. But I know Geonosian Soldier is a little tankier and hits harder and puts offense up. And so right now, he makes more sense with Sunfac. But eventually, I think that would be a good addition to your team, would be the TIE Fighter Pilot. And I can see you're putting work into him. Now, like all free-to-play people who play for, 6 months or so, you've got some characters developed, and then it falls off really quick. And that's just what happens when you're free to play. You can't put all your energy into a lot of these characters. You get them, you kind of unlock them through the bronziums, but then they just kind of sit at the bottom. You hear that a character's good, you throw a little gear into them, and you realize, whoa, that's too much, I don't have energy to do everybody. So all in all, your inventory looks great for 5 to 6 months in free to play, and your arena team looks good. As far as how I would mod your arena team, you're going to want obviously potency. potency mods when you can unlock them. And if you only can unlock, health mods, then just look for secondary stats of potency for Emperor Palpatine. You're going to want, anytime you have an attack or somebody that's going to hit for a lot, they normally are a little squishier. So you're going to want a little bit more health or protection as the stats that you put on there. Plus, you're going to want some speed. So you put like a speed arrow and a protection, but you also want to get the potency up. So for like the cross on the bottom right, you're going to want to do protection. For Grand Moff Tarkin and Count Dooku, same thing. You're going to want to put a little bit more health and protections, in secondaries, as well as some potency, because they're going to try to apply debuffs. And so you're going to want to make sure their potency is up. Now, it's relative to who you're going against. So if you're going against a bunch of teams where they're the tenacity of what you're seeing is, in the 40s and 50s, then you just need to get your potency up to the 40s and 50s to cancel out their tenacity. However, if you're going in and you see their tenacity is over 50%, you really need to get that potency above that. So it's all relative to your shard or to your leaderboard. So make sure you're paying attention to kind of where the people are that you're attacking are at with their mods. And that's another tip of the day. Go look at other people's mods and how they're modding their characters when you lose. If you lose a battle, you should be trying to figure out why you lost that battle, and one of those things is to check the mods of how they modded their character. That's a cool tip. As far as Geonosian Soldier and Sunfac, you're actually my suggestion. Even though he applies debuffs, you would want a little bit of superficial potency. Tenacity is more important because there is a lot of stunning and stunners in the game. People that are going to stun him, and Sunfac cannot help you as a counter tank if he's stuck in the stun position. So make sure you get as much tenacity on him as possible. And Geonosian Soldier, if you can get any kind of offense buffs or critical chance or critical damage buffs or anything like that. Now, I know it's really difficult for you for mods. Mods do not come easy, especially for free to play, and they're definitely hard to unlock, but that is that would be the theoretical way I would go about it. So let's go ahead and go through your inventory relatively quickly and see where you're at with stuff. Let's go ahead and do light side first. So let's select that. And the top 5 that I would do for light side is probably Lando and Stormtrooper Han, and probably Luminara because she's in your top 5 row, and Princess Leia can stealth and she's decent, and then Qui-Gon Jinn for the to be able to take away taunts and things like that. So I'd probably do a Lando lead, so that way you get a little bit more speed and a little bit more damage. Or you could go Luminara as a lead for the evasion, but I think the damage is more important really when you're running light side battles. And for light side missions, you should be able to go Lando lead, Stormtrooper Han is your taunting tank and to give more turn meter, Luminara, Princess Leia, and Qui-Gon Jinn, and Lando's going to benefit, 3 of the characters out of your 5 for the light side. As far as who you've farmed and who you need to farm, that kind of thing, you're working on certain characters such as Rey, and Poe and Finn. That's great. Resistance Pilot, looks like you're trying to do the resistance so you can get speed mods, so that's really smart of you. But I see Lobot as one of the characters and Hoth Rebel Scout as one of the characters that you're kind of farming, and I would not put probably any more energy into Hoth Rebel Scout. While he is a decent hitter, his kit is just not diverse enough for me to suggest him. And Lobot, while he has some good synergy with some of the other, like droids and stuff, I just still, again, his kit I'm not a huge fan of. I wouldn't put any more energy into him. Same thing with Luke Skywalker. For now, I wouldn't put any more energy into Luke Skywalker. But I would continue to develop your resistance. I know what you're trying to do there, and that is good. I also see your Jawas, you're kind of gearing up, they're gear 5 and 6 and stuff, and that's good because you need them as well to help unlock other mod battles, so that is good. The rest on the bottom are relatively low, and you don't have turret, so Baze is less valuable. However, Baze at 3 stars, fully maxed and stuff, is very, very viable he would be an excellent tank for you in the arena. He's got the retribution. He can clear buffs off the other team in multiple ways. He's a heavy hitting tank, and he's super viable at 3 stars. So even if you can't get Baze anymore, shard wise, he would still be somebody I would probably focus on, because the new meta, especially if you're free to play. So this is the deal. If you're free to play, you're not going to get a bunch of speed mods that are going to get you up in the 200 speeds. It's probably not going to happen. Not anytime soon. You're going to have to farm mods, off and on for months until you finally get enough speed mods. So you're probably going to get beat off the line. So an auto taunt tank is really critical to make sure that if you're beat off the line, they go first, so they don't just slaughter your whole team, that you have something that's spongy and automatically going to absorb that, and that would be Baze. And since you have him, like I said, that would be my project of the month for the month of March. We're going into March here soon, so I would suggest making Baze kind of your pet project for light side. The rest of them down here on the bottom, I wouldn't worry too much about, except I would level up Rex as well. Rex is at gear 1, and so I would definitely put some energy into Rex, and I see you've got Biggs down on the bottom. And so those would be the 3 down here in the bottom 3 rows that I would really kind of focus on your light side. Would be leveling up Biggs, because Biggs and Wedge will always be a really cool duo combo, and they'll help you tremendously in getting through the light side nodes, the light side battles, so that way you can unlock further gear and other characters. If you ever want to farm some of the higher level nodes, you're going to have a good team, and Biggs and Wedge will always work great on the light side missions. Rex he is indispensable. He's a great leader, and he's going to help you on the light side missions, as well as help you in the Rancor raid, and you could use him potentially with your other clones. So there's that, but that would be the top 3. Baze would be my number 1. He'd be my pet project next month. I'd focus most of my energy on him, and then Biggs and Rex would also be there. So let's look at your dark side and let's see what you have. So what I'm seeing here is pretty strong dark side, not too bad for free to play. I noticed that you have a number of Sith that you've leveled up, from Darth Vader to Savage to Darth Sidious to Count Dooku. So that is actually very, very cool. And you should have unlocked the Sith Trooper, and you did. He's at the bottom. And so if you are going to continue to focus on the Sith above, I would highly recommend you work on Sith Trooper. He's a phenomenal tank for Sith, and you're definitely going to want a Sith tank. You're working on Kylo Ren and First Order. It looks like most of the First Order you're working on, and that's okay if you're trying to use them for the mod battles, but I wouldn't go too extreme. I wouldn't worry too much about Death Trooper and Director Krennic. That while they're decent characters, they're good. They're not as overpowered as everybody thinks them to be, so I wouldn't really put a whole lot of energy into them. But in the top, your top 3 rows and stuff, it looks like you got some cool Sith going and some good Empire going. Sun Fac, like I said, probably one of the most versatile, if not the most versatile tank, so that's good. You could, when you get your Sith a little bit higher up, evolve to an all Sith team or a mostly Sith and Empire team, and you've got a lot of good characters. As far as who I would focus on, the ones on the top you're still developing, so that is good. As far as the bottom 3 rows, the one that really stands out to me, there's a couple that really stand out to me, is potentially your First Order if you're trying to get those mods unlocked. And then if you're going to continue to do Sith, like it looks like you are, you've got tons of Sith leveled up and you're gearing them up, then I would get them a tank and potentially consider the Sith Trooper as the tank for them, since there's so much synergy with the Sith and Sith. But the one I definitely see in the bottom row you definitely have to develop that's pretty low currently is Boba Fett. Not only is he really, really good in every area of the game, but he's a Scoundrel, so you're definitely going to want to have him for your Scoundrel team so you can get the credits and training bots and things as such. Now, let's go ahead and move on to your Scoundrels. So what I see with Scoundrels is that you have 3 really good Scoundrels leveled up pretty decently, but I see you do not have Han Solo unlocked yet, so your team may not be doing the heroic Rancor yet, and that's okay. Until then, I would use Boba Fett and Clone Wars Chewbacca. Clone Wars Chewbacca for this reason. He's durable because he's a tank, so he's less likely to die, and he can kind of keep your other guys alive. And then Boba Fett because he's very, very versatile. So I would focus on leveling up Boba Fett, but I really wouldn't worry about leveling up Clone Wars Chewbacca. Just use him as a placeholder in the 5th slot until you can unlock the Han Solo for that. So that is about it. All right, let's look at potential farming mistakes or people that you want to level up. So as far as overall who you are currently focused on that maybe you should abandon, I would probably say the one that sticks out the most is Lobot. I would not worry too much about him. I wouldn't worry too much about Death Trooper or Krennic. I would continue focusing on your Jawas. I would not worry too much about, Zam Wessel. I would get Biggs up. I would not worry too much about Ugnaught or Scarif Rebel Pathfinder or Biston or Kit, any of those. Let's really quick look at your Jedi. So you don't have Yoda yet, and so you're going to have to use these characters for Yoda. I would recommend Luminara as a lead for the Evasion, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Ahsoka and Jedi Consular. Those are your top 4. So I'd recommend those top 4. The one you do not have that I would recommend is either Kit Fisto, who you already have unlocked and you would need to farm, or I would farm for Jedi Knight Anakin. He would be a phenomenal addition since you have Ahsoka. Now you are going to have to go to 5 stars on all these characters just to unlock Yoda, and then you're going to have to get 6 stars and 7 stars for all of these. It looks like Yoda is not a huge priority for you, and that is okay. Now that's what I've got as the thoughts, and that is what I would do for your roster. Again, I think that overall, for free-to-play, you're right on track. You're not making that many mistakes or anything like that. I think there's a few characters you might want to abandon, one of which is, Lobot and a few others. But if you're trying to get certain abilities like First Order and Jawa and stuff leveled up for those mod battles, then great. If not, then I would just abandon them as well and not worry about them right now and focus more on the characters that I told you to focus on. So what did you think about this roster review? What do you think he should focus on that maybe I didn't mention? Leave your comments down below. As always, keep your gaming on. Warrior, out.